For nearly 30 years, Arnell Simpson, the eldest daughter of O.J. Simpson, remained silent while the world watched her father's life unravel in one of the most infamous trials in American history. She was never on trial herself, yet she was judged, scrutinized, and blamed simply for carrying the Simpson name. Behind the headlines and courtroom drama, Arnell carried a burden few could imagine: the weight of a family torn apart by tragedy, betrayal, and public spectacle. Now, after decades of silence, she has finally spoken, revealing a story of grief, loyalty, and loss that no one expected. When the world's eyes were glued to the slow-moving white Bronco in 1994, Arnell was just a young woman caught in the eye of a media storm that would change her life forever. Sitting quietly behind her father during the trial, she never flinched, never spoke, and never revealed the turmoil she felt inside. The trial was a spectacle of accusations, graphic evidence, and public outrage, but Arnell's silence was her shield. She was there, watching, enduring, and protecting the family she still believed in, even as the world turned against them. Arnell was born in 1968 to O.J. Simpson and his first wife, Marguerite Whitley. She was O.J.'s favorite child, the firstborn, and the one who knew him before fame and fortune changed everything. Growing up, she witnessed her father's rise as a football legend and Hollywood star, but also the cracks in his personal life. O.J.'s marriage to Marguerite was strained, and after the tragic drowning of Arnell's younger brother Aaron in 1979, the family's foundation began to crumble. Marguerite filed for divorce, and Arnell was left to carry the weight of a broken family at just 11 years old. In 1985, O.J. married Nicole Brown, and Arnell, then 17, found herself navigating a new family dynamic. Nicole initially tried to build a relationship with Arnell, even giving her gifts and including her in family vacations. But beneath the surface, tensions grew. Arnell witnessed O.J.'s controlling and violent behavior toward Nicole, including a 1989 incident where Nicole was left bruised and bloody during a fight. Arnell saw the darkness behind closed doors but chose to stay silent, caught between loyalty and fear. The night Nicole Brown Simpson was murdered in 1994 was a turning point for Arnell. She was home in Los Angeles, not at the crime scene but close enough to feel the shock ripple through her family. Nicole's children were asleep upstairs, soon to become orphans in all but name. Arnell was one of the first family members to arrive at the police station, expecting to find a grieving father. Instead, she found a man already preparing his defense. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of accusations, custody battles, and media frenzy, with Arnell caught in the middle, trying to protect her half-siblings and manage the chaos. Throughout the trial, Arnell remained a silent figure beside O.J., her expression unreadable as graphic evidence was presented and the prosecution laid out its case. The media speculated endlessly about her feelings and loyalties, but those close to her say she was numb, emotionally shut down by the trauma she witnessed. Her silence was not approval but survival, a way to endure the unbearable. After O.J.'s acquittal in 1995, Arnell's public appearances dwindled. She tried to build a life outside her father's shadow, dabbling in fashion and documentary production, but the Simpson name was both a key and a curse. Nothing she did could escape the legacy of the trial. When O.J. was arrested again in 2007 for armed robbery in Las Vegas, Arnell stood by him once more, but the cracks in their relationship were visible. She attended fewer hearings and eventually stopped visiting during his prison sentence, signaling a painful shift in their bond. Arnell's role extended beyond family loyalty. She managed O.J.'s finances, coordinated legal strategies, and protected his public image. Yet this responsibility came at a cost. She was blamed for mismanaging money, accused of controlling the narrative, and painted as complicit in her father's actions. Privately, she struggled with grief, guilt, and isolation, often disappearing into the shadows to escape the relentless scrutiny. In 2013, Arnell gave a rare interview, carefully measured and cautious. She did not defend or condemn her father, but spoke of the profound impact the trial had on her. "It's like waking up and realizing the person you trusted the most might not be who you thought," she said, hinting at the complex emotions she had carried for decades. When OJ was released from prison in 2017, Arnell was there, but something had changed. The woman who once stood silently by his side now kept her distance. She no longer managed his affairs or accompanied him publicly. For the first time, she drew a boundary, reclaiming her own identity separate from the Simpson legacy. In 2024, Arnell finally broke her silence in a brief, emotionally restrained interview. She spoke not of guilt or innocence, but of grief, mourning both Nicole Brown and the father she thought she had. She revealed the deepest pain of her life, losing herself in the shadow of a man whose actions shattered her world. "I wasn't Arnell Simpson. I was OJ's daughter. That was all anyone needed to know," she said, reclaiming her name and her story. When OJ Simpson died quietly in 2025, Arnell did not issue a public statement or attend memorials. She grieved in silence, as she had for decades, away from the cameras and headlines. The world speculated about her next move, a memoir, a tell-all, a final revelation, but Arnell's silence spoke volumes. In her quiet endurance, she had already told the most profound story of all: the cost of carrying a legacy no one asked for, the loss of innocence, and the struggle to find peace after a lifetime of pain. Arnell Simpson's story is not just about being the daughter of a man accused of one of the most notorious crimes in history. It is about survival, resilience, and the quiet strength it takes to live in the shadow of tragedy. For years, she bore the weight of a family torn apart, the public's judgment, and her own conflicted heart. Now, finally, she has reclaimed her voice, not to rewrite history, but to tell her truth.